Chairman of this Satra, Sri Shivashakti ji, and my co-panelist, Dr. Guru Prasad Paswan ji, all respected organizers, participants, मेरा humble pranam sab. In this session, we are going to discuss about the cultural and spiritual aspect of our very Rashtra, nation. It's a great occasion for us all to introspect ourselves, to discuss, to think again and again about the fundamental philosophy on which we are all working together. Yes, we have got a distinct darshana, our philosophy. See, darshana is not a proper translation for philosophy or vice versa. Ours is a darshan. It is all related to or starting from the concept of Rashtra or nation. Unlike the Western concept of nationhood, which often arises from mutual interest, selfish interest, Bharatiya concept of Rashtra is fundamentally distinct. It is cultural and rooted in a profound spiritual vision. That is the speciality of our Rashtra concept, and that is the what which I have tried to compare in the beginning itself, the Western concept. Our Rashtra's founders, Rashtra Nirmata, were not merely leaders but rishis and visionaries, guiding the Rashtra with wisdom and dharma. In contrast, Western nations often emerged for political or economic reasons. That is a fundamental difference between Bharatiya Rashtra concept and the Western Rashtra concept. I am not saying that everywhere it is like that, but in general, हमको इस प्रकार से इसको डिवाइड कर सकते हैं. Western nations were frequently led by military conquerors, politicians, or businessmen. Their nationalism has been shaped by jealousy, competition, and conflict, often resulting in war and destruction. In Bharat, however, nationalism has always emphasized cooperation, harmony, peace, and goodwill. This explains why the West has often resorted to destructive wars, while Bharatiya conquests have typically been peaceful and persuasive. With these words, I would like to point out some main characteristic features of Western variant of nationalism in this way. First, state preceded the nation, which may be called state-based nation. State here, you are all well studied, well learned, especially in Ekatma Manava Darshana or Bharatiya Darshana. So, when we are talking about state, it means about the government. Second, politics occupies the center stage of nationalism. Politics become the center stage of nationalism as far as the non-Bharatiya Rashtra concepts are concerned. Third, antithetical to international order. See, the national concepts and Rashtrawad, the so-called nationalism in the Western nations, it all led the whole nation, whole world into so many wars. That's why we are saying it is antithetical to international order. Fourth, exclusive, regimental, and racist, which remains of fascism and Nazism entailing 2 world wars. Fifth point, discord, conflict, and cutthroat competition serve as the basis of the development of nation-state system. Many of you might have heard about A.G.B. Taylor, who wrote about the development of nations in Europe. Interestingly, he gave the name of his most important book in this way: Struggle for Mastery of Europe. That title itself is self-explanatory. How nations were developed there. They are trying to establish, impose their mastery over others. Sixth, dimension of governance eclipsing the part of nation. Eclipsing the part of nation. It includes components like anti-colonial movement, political reform, constitutionalism, and development. 7. Not prone to values like rationalism, democracy, and liberty. 8. Cultural ethos, universalism, and humanism have hardly any space there. Coming directly to the idea of building up of nation, we have to calmly think about the forces that's also needed, necessary, what all forces are working against the positive national concepts. Those are acting against us means in Bharat. And which are the forces acting in favor of us? From this point of view, in today's Bharat, there are 3 types of nationalists. We have to think about that also. 3 types in general, I am saying. To make it very easy, I may use 3 Swadeshi words. One is Navarashtravadi. Some nationalists are saying that this nation is newly created or in the process of creation. So that is known as Navarashtravadi. Second, Bahurashtravadi, multinationalism. There are so many nations. And the final which we are discussing today, that is Chira Rashtravadi or Sanskritik Rashtravadi. What is Navarashtravadi? Those who say we are newborn nation, beginning right from 1947. You are all here remembering about a statement, the claim which has been made by our first Prime Minister himself on the eve of our freedom, independence. He made a statement. Generally, we all used to repeat that particular term because it is a poetic construct of Jawaharlal Nehru, that we are a nation in making. The very term we are nation in making, that phrase itself is erroneous as far as Bharat is concerned. We are not nation in making. It has already been created right from the Vedic period. But still, some people are thinking in that line, and they are thinking the nation concept and nationalism are the contribution of the colonial masters. Even to that extent, they are thinking. Some years back, to be more precise, 3-4 years back, when we were all celebrating our nation's independence 75th year, we are all aware about the fact that माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी उसके पहले ही एक वैचारिक माहौल खड़ा करने के दृष्टि पर उसके पहले ही बहुत प्रवास किया और उन्होंने राष्ट्र के बारे में, स्वतंत्रता के बारे में भाषण करना प्रारंभ किया था. It is usual style of माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी that he will create an intellectual atmosphere so that the celebration will be meaningful. So in that, our Rashtra concept, which has been defined by Veda, defined by our ancient masters, rishis, were all discussed. At that point of time, one of the prominent journalists and social media activists, a lady, I don't want to name her, she made a statement. She was asking Pradhan Mantri ji, Arey o Baba. See, at that time, Modi ji has got that thadi also. So she was asking, Arey o Baba, where was your India before Britain came here? Britain आने के पहले आपके ये भारत कहाँ थे, India कहाँ थे? See the audacity of that lady to ask such a question. And that, not only that, she was continuing in that tweet that she was saying, it was only a landmass in between Burma and Afghanistan. It was only a landmass. The very nation was created by Britain. Then what was the purpose of our freedom struggle itself? Okay, anyway, one of our friends was very active in social media. He answered it in a very sarcastic way. He said that, yes, madam, that is why when Britain came here, they started a company also to have trade with us. Usko naam diya, British East Landmass in between Burma and Afghanistan Company. ऐसा नाम दिया है, ऐसा बताया. So, this is the way in which some of the intellectuals are working, and they are known as, I have put them in Navarashtravadi, neo-nationalist. And second is Bahurashtravadi. You know, Bharat was never a nation and nor it is now. A nation nahi hai. But is a conglomeration of many nations. The sub-nationalist and communist belong to this category. That's why communists, when they organized their plenum, special plenum in 1945, they have claimed that Bharat is not one nation, it is a conglomeration of 16 nations. They have named it also, Kerala Rashtriyata, Tamil Rashtriyata se lekar Kashmir Deshiyata tak. Not only that, they have asked, they have claimed that each and every nation out of these 16 nations, they have got the self-determining power also. Ye bhi likha tha. Within 1 year, they have conducted a special plenum also in which they have found out another Rashtriyata, which is very much relevant today's, situation, that is Baluchi Deshiyata. They have found out another Deshiyata also. Anyway, so that is Bahurashtravadi. And Chira Rashtravadi, eternal Rashtra concept or Sanskritic Rashtravada, right from Veda or even beyond that, Shankara to Swami Vivekananda, Guruji Golwalkar, Pandit Deenadayal Upadhyaya explained our Rashtra as an eternal one, a cultural one, a spiritual one. So it is an eternal one. It is not at all related, only related to the state mechanism or the trade or business or finance. These are all factors which are to be considered, but that doesn't mean that they are the main reason. The main reason of our Rashtra concept is culture, spirituality and everything. So in the famous Vedic mantra, most of you must have heard it for multiple times. In Veda, how Rashtra was created has been very well explained by the rishis. Bhadramichanda rishayas survida tapo dikshamupase duragre tato rashtrambalamojaschya jadam तदस्मयी देवामुपसन्नमन्तु. राष्ट्र को देवता लोग भी प्रणाम करते हैं. क्यों? वो बताते हैं, the secret knowing rishis, desiring the welfare of mankind, performed tapas and austerities, and as a result, a mighty and powerful Rashtra was born. Here also, if you are going deep into that particular sloka, you'll find that it is all related to the culture. It is all related to the spirituality. It is all related to work for the whole world. Sarvida. The Sarvida concept, it is related to Sanskriti. Before which even gods prostrate. This clearly signifies that according to the Vedas, nations are the product of the tapas of rishis, whose sole aim was the well-being of humanity. It was this vision that gave rise to the cultural nationalism of the Hindus. यहाँ से cultural nationalism शुरू होता है. So when we are thinking about the legacy of the Rashtra concept, we have to start from Veda or even before that. Swami Vivekananda in the modern era has translated in a way this particular definition of Rashtra in the modern language. He said that, I'm quoting, renunciation and service are the national ideals of this nation. And if you want to strengthen this nation, strengthen her in those channels and rest will take care of itself. Swamiji's famous statement. Our Rashtra has got ideals. What are those ideals? That is renunciation and service. Again, go back to the Veda mantra. पूरे संसार के लिए तप किए, उनके सुख सुविधा के लिए, श्रेयस के लिए, ऐश्वर्य के लिए, वेलफेयर के लिए तप किया, दैट इज नोन एज रिनंसिएशन, त्याग. When renunciation will put into practice, it is known as seva or service. So Swamiji interpreted in the modern times, it is in the way renunciation and service, that's the national ideals of this nation. So if you want to strengthen this nation, there is only one way to strengthen it, that is strengthen her in those channels, that cultural, spiritual, service-oriented marga. Both, yani Vedic rishis and Swami Vivekananda both give emphasis on cultural and civilizational values for the welfare for all. That is the Sarvida word of that Sanskrit sloka. What is for the main purpose of the renunciation? It is for whole. Service for whom? For all. Everywhere in our scriptures and teachings of great rishis, this Sarvida aspect can be seen. Sarve santu niramaya, sarve bhadrani pashyantu. The very mission, very aim of our life has been defined in this way, and this word is oft repeated in our slokas and the concept. Bharatiya nationalism has always been deeply spiritual, emphasizing selfless service, that is tyaga or renunciation, and moral upliftment. It embodies karma yoga, a path of action performed without attachment to outcomes. Even the most revered rishis and sages have regarded service to the nation as a sacred duty. In the same way, Adi Shankaracharya also, in that line of rishis and acharyas, he also considered this nation, this Rashtra, as the embodiment of the Shakti or Devi. Just like Swami Vivekananda in the later period, he was also considering Bharat as the manifestation of the Shakti, Devi or Bhagavati. That's why you always say that Bharat Mata is our goddess, Bharat Mata. Shankaracharya in Saundarya Lahari, he very clearly mentioned that Bharat एक प्रकार से देवी का, भगवती का स्वरूप है. यहाँ के जो डिफरेंट 8 मेजर सिटीज को, शहरों को, नगर को वर्णन करते हुए शंकराचार्य जी ने बताया, ये देवी का स्वरूप ही है ये राष्ट्र. Swami Vivekananda, when he was also mentioning about the Rashtra concept, he was also always discussing about that point. Swami Vivekananda identified Bharat Mata or Mother Bharat as a form of the Divine Mother, a concept rooted in Hindu tradition. He viewed her as a manifestation of the goddess, embodying both the nation's soul and a divine principle, according to so many of his articles, his speeches, explaining that particular aspect. This is similar to the concept of Bhagavati, which is a name for the goddess, particularly in the context of her power and energy. He made his devotion and love towards Mother Bharat more palpable when he addressed the nation from Madras in 15 February 1897. It's a famous speech. Many of you might have read it multiple times, in which he has made that statement. I'm quoting, "Give up being a slave. For the next 50 years, this alone shall be our keynote. This, our great Bharat Mata, let all other vain gods disappear for the time from our minds. This is the only God that is awake, our own race. Everywhere his hands, everywhere his feet, everywhere his ears, he covers everything." So, whenever he was talking, Swami Vivekananda was talking about Bharat, he is considering it as a cultural aspect, and also the development of the cultural content of this society. And in a way, he was considering it as Devi or Virata Swarup. And again, Swamiji, whenever he was explaining, I don't want to take much of the time to give all the quotations from Swamiji's speeches. See, Swamiji, whenever he was discussing about the very purpose of this nation's birth, राष्ट्र क्यों जन्म हुआ था, वेद में कहते हैं क्या इसका उद्देश्य है, स्वामी जी भी कहते हैं, दिस इज द थीम ऑफ भारतीय लाइफ वर्क, the burden of our eternal songs, the backbone of our existence, the foundation of our being, the resonator of our very existence. He always said about this particular aspect, the very purpose, the content of this nation. He said, the spiritualization of the human race. In this, her life course, she has never deviated. Whether the Tartar ruled or the Turk, whether the Mughal ruled or the English, unquote. See, no matter whether who is in the power, that's why he made that statement. Whether the Tartar ruled or the Turk, whether the Mughal ruled or the English, the purpose of this land, this country, is one that is the spiritualization of the human race. So in this way also, he was explaining Bharat's content, content of Bharat is spirituality, and that's our culture. Every nation has a message to deliver, a mission to fulfill, a destiny to reach. The mission of Bharat has been to guide humanity. And Bharat's message is spiritualism. This is the corresponding idea of Bharat nation. So in this way, Bharat's definition as a Rashtra, Swami Vivekananda, many a times he has defined it in this way, that spirituality is the core content of this nation. That is the raison d'etre of this nation. And our very purpose of the living of the Bharat's life is to spiritualize the whole world. Another important aspect he used to repeat, that was our people or our society has to rise to the swatva or swa part, selfhood part of this nation, without which we cannot go ahead. What is that swatva? It has already been mentioned. The foundation of Bharat's nationhood was culture. Neither economics nor politics, but a deep spiritual and cultural unity, a shared pride in and adherence to the common culture bound people together as a single nation. While languages, customs, attire, diets, religious practices and lifestyles varied, the underlying cultural unity animated the nation as a single living entity, pulsating with a collective spirit. In this way, Swamiji was always an unapologetic Hindu, unapologetic Bharatiya, always battled for the cultural concept of this nation. Pandit Deendayal ji, we have to discuss about the cultural national concept of Deendayal ji also in this session. That is what which I have been asked to. Already I have said, right from Veda period or beyond that, this Rashtra has been defined in this way, that is the cultural or spiritual aspect of this nation. That has been continued by Pandit Swami Vivekananda, Guruji Golwalkar and Pandit Deendayal ji in the same way. Deendayal ji, as a true political philosopher who delved deep into the concept of nationhood, in the same way as Swami Vivekananda or Shankaracharya has done. His concept about Rashtra, the cultural concept of nation. Yes, also the main important points I would like to present before you. The first point, there are so many aspects which are to be discussed. The main points I would like to put before you. Rashtratva, nationality, he argued, is not shaped by mere mundane consideration, but serves a higher purpose. When we are talking about Rashtra, when we are talking about राष्ट्रीय विचार के लोग, हमेशा ये ध्यान में रखने की आवश्यकता है, it is not at all confined to the mundane aspects, only confined to the material aspects. He was saying, and it has got a higher purpose. Swami Vivekananda has already defined what is that higher purpose, nothing less than the spiritualization of the whole world. Second important point which Deendayal ji used to say about Rashtra, he asserted that much like the soul of an individual, every society possesses an innate nature, one that is intrinsic and not merely a product of historical circumstances. A soul, swa or chiti which he has been mentioned in Ekatma Manav Darshanam very clearly. Third aspect, he emphasized, Rashtra encompasses the entire spectrum of life shared by its people. This Rashtra concept and its swa or selfhood content, it encompasses the entire spectrum of life shared by the people. इसलिए दीनदयाल जी कहते हैं, it has been quoted by B.K. Kelkar ji in Dindayal ji Political Thought. He said, like soul or a fundamental principle of a nation, every society has an innate nature which is in both and is not the result of historical circumstances. Rashtra connotes the entire gamut of the life of the people constituting it. Man's behavior in relation to the society should also be guided by a similar consideration so that our philosophy can be useful to world peace and happiness. So when Dindayal ji was talking about this particular cultural spiritual content or the selfhood swa or chiti, he was always emphasizing upon us, or he was asking us to implement और इसको प्रैक्टिकल दृष्टि पर लाने के लिए हम जहां जहां काम करते हैं, चाहे हम एजुकेशन फील्ड में काम करते होंगे, नहीं तो वी वर इन द उद्योग और द डेवलपमेंटल एस्पेक्ट्स ऑफ द पीपल, we have to think always about this cultural content or chiti of the nation. To Dinadayal Upadhyaya, viewing from nature, which is a stable, permanent concept, a people who share a common character and a particular process do constitute a nation. Clearly he is defined. Who is a nation? Which one is a nation? It can only be a people who share a common character and a particular process do constitute a Rashtra. He again analyzed it in this way. When a group of persons live with a goal, an ideal, a mission, and look upon a particular piece of land as motherland, they virtually appear as a Rashtra. He further writes in the introduction he wrote a wonderful biography of Adi Shankaracharya. That is why I have quoted Adi Shankaracharya also in the beginning. In the introduction of the biography written by him for the Adi Shankaracharya, he says, I am quoting, the memory of the lives and deeds of our great men, the great reverence in which they are held by the masses, and the national character by them constitute the rich heritage and sources of thought. That means Smriti, Shraddha, Rashtratva, Samartha Virasat or Vichar. It constitutes a nation. And the people must have a common one end of mission. And also they must have an ideal, a mission, a vision, and a Matrubhumi concept of this land. Bharat's cultural evolution has been rooted in inclusivity, tolerance, benevolence, and accommodation, enabling harmonious coexistence with the diverse cultures. Bharat has always fostered goodwill toward other nations, never driven by conquest or subjugation for imperialistic expansion. Even at the height of its power and prosperity, while its culture spread far and wide, influencing vast regions and societies, this expansion was never achieved through physical or military conquest. As Swami Vivekananda eloquently stated, the influence of Hindu culture upon humanity has been like the gentle dew that falls unseen and unheard, bringing into the blossom the fairest of flowers. So, Pandit Dinadayal ji, like Swami Vivekananda, was always thinking in this line that our nation is a cultural nation. Just like Baba Saheb Ambedkar, once he was participating in the anthropological seminar in Columbia University in 1916, he was talking about the cultural unity of this nation. He was saying, Bharat's geographical unity is एक प्रकार से पूरे विश्व में दूसरे किसी राष्ट्र को ये geographical unity नहीं है. But along with that, Baba Saheb Ambedkar was saying what which Dinadayal ji, Swami Vivekananda in some other language, what which they are saying, the very same thing Ambedkar was also saying. What is the main reason of this geographical unity? It is the indubitable cultural unity which spreads from one end to another. भारत के एक एंड से दूसरे एंड तक फैला हुआ, स्प्रेड करने वाले, that indubitable cultural unity. So in that way, Baba Saheb Ambedkar was also a protagonist of cultural nationalist theory. As far as culture is concerned, Dinadayal ji observed that the culture is law to be followed in Bharat must be Bharatiya in spirit and conception and not a mimicry of Mecca, Medina or Rome. Without mincing terms, Dinadayal ji was never a politically correct person. So he didn't mince his words. He says, law to be followed in Bharat must be Bharatiya in spirit and conception and not a mimicry of Mecca, Medina or Rome. Then he said, it is only one culture that can protect and develop Bharat. That is Bharatiya culture and also Hindu culture. We should no doubt build, this is another aspect which Dinadayal ji used to repeat in many of his speeches. We should no doubt build dams and factories. But what is more important today is to provide a philosophy of life to the country which is in accordance with our ancient to revive Bharatiya idealism. Without the culture, aping others for the material development only will not lead us to anywhere. If we want to reach the ultimate reality, ultimate विकास होना है तो ये संस्कृति को सेंटर पे रखकर उसको शक्तिशाली बनाकर उस फिलोसफी को साथ में रखकर ही जाना चाहिए. And then he used to say, the problems of Bharat are not merely political or economic, but social and cultural too. The origin of Bharatiya nationalism could be traced to the cultural unity of Bharat. That is the main point which we have to understand as far as Bharat's future is concerned. Yes, we have got so many of the political questions which we have to address, we have to solve. There are so many economic issues also. It is to be solved. But along with that, we have to identify the social and cultural issues also. It can be solved through the cultural unity and cultural way only. So, I would like to conclude, like Swami Vivekananda, Pandit Dinadayal Upadhyaya placed the idea of Bharat in the domain of culture and spirituality rather than in the arithmetic of power. It must be underlined, it must be understood in a bold letters. Pandit Dinadayal Upadhyaya placed the idea of Bharat in the domain of culture and spirituality rather than the arithmetic of power. Dinadayal ji advanced this idea through his philosophy of Ekatma Manava Darshan, emphasizing that the nation is an organic community whose chiti, its cultural essence, must guide every program of material progress. He says, chiti is the touchstone on which each action, each attitude is tested and determined to be acceptable or otherwise. Chiti is the soul of the nation. On the strength of this chiti, a nation rises strong and bright. It is this chiti that is demonstrated in the actions of every great man of a nation. Every society has an innate nature which is not the result of historical circumstances. So, chiti is the touchstone whether we are progressing in the real correct direction or not. And this particular aspect, definition, and the concept of nation, that legacy is continuing. The effect of those great people, great personalities, their vision, it is influencing us in the present day life. The continuing effect of their vision can be sensed in policies that blend strategic strength with civilizational confidence. Strategic strength with civilizational confidence. The worldwide appeal of International Yoga Day, the restoration of ancient pilgrimage corridors, and humanitarian rescue missions undertaken by the Bharat government all rest on the conviction that soft power and hard power reinforce one another when they spring from a living culture. You know, in which dawn we are all passing through. Just like William Wordsworth in his famous poem, The Prelude, he said that bliss was it in this dawn to be alive. This is a dawn, this is a prabhata. It's a good prabhata. In this prabhat we are alive. It is a bliss, it is a blessing. So it is all happening because that legacy is being continuing. Those leadership legacy is now still continuing through strategic strength being coupled with or mingled with civilizational confidence. That is being shown in so many of our actions, our government's action also. This cultural nationhood, राष्ट्रवाद और राष्ट्रत्व, सांस्कृतिक राष्ट्रत्व, ये तो केवल भारत के लिए सीमित नहीं है, ये सही में पूरे विश्व के लिए भी है. It's a model for the whole world. It was so in the ancient period, and now it is to be restructured, rebuilt. So it is a model for the whole world. This cultural spiritual nationalism offers the world a model of nationhood that is assertive without chauvinism and modern without deracination, without uprooting. That is the model for the whole world. In this cultural continuity and the resilience of Bharatiya thought that have enabled Bharat to endure and thrive despite periods of violent and annihilative disruptions over the past thousand years. As Swami Vivekananda says, I am concluding it with Swamiji's this statement. There have been other nations that have come and gone, living a few years of exultant and exuberant dominance and of a wicked national life, and then vanishing like ripples on the face of the waters. But we live, and if Manu came back today, we would not be bewildered and would not find himself in a foreign land. Namaskar, Vande Mataram.